How did you learn about the International Day of the Girls? And then you were the founder of Day of the Girl Buffalo, which is so cool.
So I got in contact with them in 2013. The Rising campaign, which is incorporated inside Day of the Girl, International Day of the Girl. So they contacted me and they asked if I would be the local Day of the Girl ambassador for the program here in Buffalo because there wasn't one yet. I did. I said yes because I watched the film Girl Rising.
Yes.
So if anybody else hasn't seen it, go watch it. It tells the story of 9 girls in different parts of the world that struggle with poverty, early child marriages, they're denied their education, they're not allowed to go to school, and just real life struggles that I didn't know that was still going on. I heard that, I was like, what? I complain about going to school all the time. I can't stand school, but they're fighting to go to school every day. And I thought that was so crazy, and it opened my eyes to the whole world. So I had to show everybody about this video. So I hosted an event, and I had almost 60 girls and their families come. We just talked about how it made them feel, how we can basically better the world now that we know, and let them know that. And the whole campaign is educate a girl, change the world. So notifying them and letting them know that this is what happened. This is what happening in other countries, and let them know that so that's what's happening in other countries. Girls are sort of fighting for their right to go to school. We live in America where we're blessed to have all this access to education, and we take it for granted. And it's all about taking advantage of all the education that we have here. So I know I'm part of the beauty industry, but like you said before, taking some of those so-called man jobs, getting involved in STEM and those engineering and technology and coding and stuff like that normally typical girls don't get involved with. I don't know. I can never understand why girls do that. So just notifying them and exposing them to all the different opportunities. So this year will be our 5th annual International Day of the Girl Buffalo here in Buffalo, which we're hosting an event, and we're partnering with the Science Museum. It's a free all-day event here in Buffalo for all the girls and for girls in the community and their families to come and just basically do cool workshops and expose them to all the career opportunities. And it's a celebration day to say, look how far we've come as women and girls, but also to say this stuff is still going on, so we still have a long way to go after it.
And when did you start this?
2013.
Okay. And what plans do you have for it on growing it?
I see this being one of the biggest events that we host here in Buffalo. Just I'm talking this is a huge event where we get tons and tons and tons of big sponsors, where it's a free event, exposing them and giving them that education, letting them know that not to limit themselves. Wherever you are in the community, wherever type of financial statement you are, or wherever you are, let them know that you have all the same rights as everybody else does here. So we're all equal in the same boat. So if you want to be a astronaut or whatever it is, or you have an idea, then you run with it. You don't stop for no.
So who are your role models?
I would say my role models are my mom and my nana. I would say because they're one of the strongest people, women I've ever seen before. Especially firsthand because I live with one of them. And my nana's always around too. So just how family oriented they are, and my mom is the kind of person I'm gonna make a way out of no way. Whatever it is that we wanted to do, that if we didn't, whatever circumstances we were in, she would always figure out a way to make whatever it is that we wanted to happen. So I thought that was really huge and just inspiring as well. A lot of the things, so when I think of something that's impossible, I always say nothing's impossible because there's somebody out there that's able to do this with no legs or no arms, but they're still able to do normal things.
What if the parents aren't supportive? What would you tell the girls?
I would say do your research on what it is your idea is, because you never know what's inside your community. I think it might surprise you because a lot of people, they get into that mindset oh, my parents aren't going to, I just have to wait till I'm off to college when I leave or whatever community I'm in to go better or get more involved inside that idea. And that's not true. Start doing your research now. Google is going to be your best friend in researching whatever your ideas or whatever your service that you want to do until you find that local group or that local whatever that wants to support you and is like-minded. Surround yourself with like-minded people. And unfortunately, if your parents aren't those like-minded people, then you have to look elsewhere. So I would say start doing your research and making building relationships with people that are inside that field. Finding mentors. I do believe my parents weren't involved in my business. It would be hard. It would be way harder. I don't doubt that I wouldn't be here if they weren't involved in it. Because if you have that drive, that passion, you're determined to do this, then that it would just be another barrier, just like any other thing.
You mentioned mentors. Where do you find your mentors?
So, like when I did, and I started to search local groups here in Buffalo. Well, of course, in Buffalo, especially at that time, Buffalo's a slow rising city, but we're slowly getting up there with the other cities. But so, like when I did, and I started to search local groups here in Buffalo. Well, of course, in Buffalo, especially at that time, Buffalo's a slow rising city, but we're slowly getting up there with the other cities. But being a kid entrepreneur, that was not even a word. Like kidpreneur, like that was not even a word. It was like extremely rare here. So a lot of the groups that I researched, I was used to being the only kid in the room. So it was a lot of just the groups of me around, surrounded by adults. So that's where I found my first mentor with the local group called Women in the Spotlight. The founder of that group, she became my mentor. And then when I went through the UB program, I got my mentor who actually inspired me or gave me that push to do the rebrand. So what you see now is Xandra is because of her.
Great. Yeah. Too many people are afraid of a mentor. They think they're gonna, tell them it's the wrong thing, or they don't want to hear what they have to say.
They're going to tell you what you need to hear. Right. What I needed to hear was, no, that is not going to be it. It was that product, as our instance, is not going to be on store shelves, and they gave you kind of like that realistic, but still pushing that dream out there. Okay, so we have this dream. Okay, let's take it into steps where it becomes a realistic type of thing.
Have you ever thought about being on Shark Tank?
I have. I'm actually in a group of youth, and most of the kids, teen entrepreneurs, half of them are all kid entrepreneurs that have been on Shark Tank. So hearing their experiences, some are good, some are mostly them were not good. So I'm going through that where I'm deciding if I do want to go.
What did you tell yourself when you were in elementary school?
Being more confident in what I'm doing, not letting it take. I mean, those years of practice did really help, but if I was more confident, if I was as confident as I am now, I think I would be further along if I had that confident booster, because a lot of it was my mom pushing me to go talk to people or take a picture with somebody or things like that.
Hey, think about it this way. If some girls that you know, or maybe you don't know, come up and say, I'm going to start my business, and they're 15, 16, 17 years old, or they're 18, what would you tell them?
Say that it's going to be hard because I hear a lot of adults say, that everybody told me to go follow my dream and go do this and do that, but they never told me it was going to be this hard. I must say, let them know that it's going to be hard, because especially as a teen entrepreneur, when you want to do something else, when really your heart tells you that you want to do something else, but you really need to stay focused on what you're doing now. Procrastination is huge too. It's going to be hard. You're going to hear a few no's, and you're also going to sacrifice some things, but it's all for the greater good, because that hard work does pay off. You'll be able to experience things that adults don't even get to experience in their whole lifetime. You be able to travel and basically start working hard now. Then when you're 21, when everybody is just starting to get into the work field, right, you'll be playing. That'll be your playtime.
How do you feel about being a young female entrepreneur? I taught a class that the girls dropped out because I think they were just too nervous about trying it. But the guys had these huge ideas. It was when they found out how much money it was going to cost them that they backed off a little bit. But there's a trend of young female entrepreneurs. Some of them don't stick with it, but what would you tell girls that they're not afraid to do it? Some are just too hesitant. What would you tell those girls?
Before you mentioned that the guys in the class are more aggressive and have all these ideas, I actually had a teacher who was actually a guy, and he was talking about how that girls were more comfortable in all girls schools, and he was like, I'm a guy, and he was like, I just don't understand why girls just feel more intimidated not to raise their hand and answer questions in class. And she was like, it's really because you guys think too much. She was like, honestly, for a guy, we don't care. We say anything that pops in our heads, even if it sounds stupid or it sounds really smart. Either way, it's still going to be confident because we just don't care. Girls, you guys overthink and analyze things before you say because you don't want to feel wrong. But it's okay to be wrong sometimes. So I feel that fear just stops us from creating. You can have all the talent in the world, but you're scared to show it. It's just a waste. It's just a waste. And you don't want to just waste all that talent and all the things that you can offer the world and just people in your community or your family. So I would say that use all that fear and apply it to your business. Just use that fear and just push it into doing whatever it is you want to do. It is going to be scary sometimes because being an entrepreneur is all about taking risk. Because it is all on you if it goes well, and if it is all on you if it goes bad. Since you're the boss, so there is some risk. But I feel like that's life. There's risk in everything you do. What you really want to take risk on. So you have to decide, is this what you really want to do, regardless of who's in the room, regardless if it's a man. You think that it's really a man's word, but that's really just because you don't care.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, they don't. I know my brothers are really confident. Whatever they want in the room, it's just whatever. They can be wrong. They can say the dumbest thing, but they're confident with the thing that I keep saying is they're confident in whatever it is they're doing. So they can say something that's completely wrong, but if they're confident in it and they believe in what they're saying, you can be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. But he really just said some stupid thing, and I can be like, oh, because I know it. But if you don't know and you're listening to him, you can be like, oh my gosh, that's just like the most amazing thing. And it's just like, I could have said that. Like, so it's just all about you being confident in whatever it is you want to do. Yeah, and then also I just got back from Nike a couple weeks ago, and the oldest employee that was working there, and he was talking about how there's so many people here that work at Nike. And to get whatever idea it is that you have to not care about getting fired in order to see that dream, whatever it is. So sometimes you might have to go against whatever the rule or the handbook is. If you really believe in something, you won't care about getting fired because you'll just be worried about whatever the idea is and pushing it and making sure it gets to where it needs to be. So he was like, that's what we look for in hiring Nike employees and just being the whole culture and the environment. It was like, if you're scared to get fired, then that means you'll never take a risk or you'll never do anything out of the ordinary. And that's not what we want. Because when you take those risks and you get just out of your comfort zone, that's where all the amazing ideas come from. So I thought that was really cool what he said, because it was kind of true too.
Well, Zandra, thank you so much for this today. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.